kids. And I'm seeing just my name on the graphic screen behind me. So I'm wondering if I'm not appearing, if that's okay. But I'm going to keep talking anyway, because we have a couple housekeeping things we want to tell you. First of all, if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome to 48 Blocks Arts Festival. And we're so sorry that we can't be with you in person, but we are really working hard to bring you programming all day today into the evening and also tomorrow. If you're tuning in with us and you want to participate, please make sure that when you go into the chat, and you can write us whatever you like, please, here I am, I'm appearing. Jean, it's on you. The camera's backwards. Hi, Jean, that's our cameraman and lovely, you're getting a little behind the scenes shots. We have to figure out how to switch. Hi, there I am. So let me continue with this quick announcement. I'd love for you to participate in this workshop fully. So if you want to go into the chat and type in, hi, how are you? I have a question about comedy. That was really funny. That wasn't so funny, Michelle. You can do better. You're welcome to do whatever you like in the chat. Just make sure your chat in the drop-down menu says attendees and participants, because we want everybody to see what you're writing. So I'd love to know who's out there today. So if you're comfortable with that, if your mom and dad say it's okay, or if you're one of my adult friends that always wanted to ask me something, if you could drop your name, and if you are not an adult, just your age, so I understand who I'm gearing this to. And here we go. So again, thank you for being punctual. Punctual, that's a pun. That's a form of comedy that we're gonna talk about in a little bit. But my name is Michelle Tomko, and I actually am a professional stand-up comedian here in Atlantic City. I earn my living getting up in front of a microphone and talking about my life and funny things that can happen to you in your everyday life. And you can do it too. I don't know on the professional level, if you're 9, that might be kind of tough being on the road, but I can at least get you thinking how a comedian thinks. So thank you so much for being here. I started really when I was young as well, doing comedy. It was a way that I made friends, became popular, avoided getting into arguments and things on the playground. I just wanted to just stay in a good mood and be funny. I watched a lot of comedy shows on television with my older brothers and with my parents, and I really just enjoyed speaking in a funny way. I always tried to have the essays that I had to write for school be funny. I think that helped me get better grades. So I'd like to get you thinking in that mindset. So the first thing that you're gonna need if you want to become a comedian is one of these. Any kind of notebook or pen that's your favorite, pen or pencil, colored marker.
Know what your favorite TV show?
Lynn wants to know what my favorite TV show was. Oh, hi. Well, we're watching one of them in my fancy backdrop here, Scooby-Doo. I loved Scooby-Doo so much. It was one of my favorite cartoons. And when I was a kid, you didn't just get to watch Scooby-Doo whenever you wanted. You had to watch it when it was actually scheduled to be on television. I know, I just blew the mind of everyone born after 2000, but that's how you had to do it. And the big thing for my generation when I was a little kid is Saturday morning cartoons. And you woke up really, really early at 6 or 7 in the morning. You poured some sugary cereal for yourself and you watched cartoons all morning. And I've been doing that ever since I was a little kid, even a little kid, too young to know how to change the channels. Oh, should I blow their mind again, cameraman? You used to have to, kids, little history lesson. You used to have to walk up to the television to change the channel. And you only had 3, count them, 3 channels.
No.
3.
No.
I know, don't adjust your sets. So even before I was old enough to do that, I woke up my mom every half hour to change the channel and read me the television listings so I could decide which show I wanted to watch. But anything with animals, I was big on the Laugh Olympics. Those are on YouTube and you should check those out. I watched Grape Ape. Remember Grape Ape? Grape Ape. Cameraman, you're with me on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Scooby-Doo was definitely a favorite of mine. In fact, I just only a couple years ago gave my last Scooby-Doo paraphernalia away to younger people because I heard Scooby-Doo made a comeback. He's back on, so he's got a whole new audience. Yeah. So that's really what I watched, and I still love cartoons today. We were just watching the Jetsons a little while ago. So cartoons are great, and you'll see a lot of this comedy technique called puns in it. And puns are using a word. I would describe it as using a word in a different way. We've all heard that a joke. There's different versions of it, but when the tomato sauce never could beat the mustard in a race because the tomato sauce was always trying to catch up. See, thank you. Yes, thank you. The cameraman's giving laugh tracks. That's awesome. So,
Jordan says LOL.
oh, thank you, Jordan. I appreciate you listening to that. So that's a simple pun. So we're using the sauce ketchup that everybody puts on their hot dogs and burgers, and we're using it. And what we really mean is CATCHUP, catch up. So when you first start doing comedy, and I think when kids tell jokes, they use a lot of puns. And sometimes people think that puns aren't the smartest kind of comedy, I guess, like the wittiest kind of comedy. Witty means another kind of synonym for smart, funny, tricky. But I want to change your mind about that, because there's a lot of classic authors that use puns. Shakespeare, most notably, one of the famous ones, you know, even in Richard III, he talks about the son of York. And that has a double meaning, because Richard III was a son of York in England. And also his flag had a picture of the sun, S-U-N, on it. So even in classic, everybody's heard of Shakespeare. You might not have read a lot of it, but you know Romeo and Juliet, and you've heard different references to Shakespeare. Even he used them. You actually kind of have to be very smart to come up with them. So as we work through this workshop, the one thing that I want you to absorb like a sponge, see, it has pun in it. It has pun in it. Sponge. Get that, cameraman?
Got it.
Yeah, it's a tough room. So I want you to know that it is a great way to get into comedy, and you can sit and think of them on your own. In fact, even my name of my business, my comedy business, is called Tomkomedy, because my last name is T-O-M-K-O, and comedy is spelled C-O-M-E-D-Y. So I just changed the C to a K, and I turned my name into a pun. It's Tomkomedy. And that's the name that I used for my business. So I need you to keep an open mind about this. And you know, it can really help you even when you're on the playground. I mean, being funny and telling jokes is a great alternative to being a bully. So you can use actually comedy as a wet pun.
Nice. Nice.
Thank you.
Well played.
Yes, yes. And, you know, don't worry about it. It's hard to become a comedian. I teach comedy classes all over. I even teach them at Stockton University. Thank you, Stockton, for supporting local businesses. And don't worry, it takes a long time. I mean, there's people that come to my open mics. What an open mic is when we set up a microphone, and anybody that wants to come up and talk or sing can. And it's a great way to practice in front of an audience. And maybe I'll see you at one of my open mics one day. That just came to me. They're coming to me now. I'm in the zone. But don't worry, because if you can't get it or aren't understanding what I'm saying, no one is going to, cameraman, punish you. So let us take a serpentine path to being funny. So let's talk about it a little bit. So, you know, I think that, as I told you, I've just been using comedy all my life, and it's because I had two big brothers. I don't know if any of you are the youngest in your family out there, but my brothers were 11 years older than me when I was in the house. So we had a big age difference, and I wanted to communicate with them and play with them and have their friends think I was cool. And I was just in a house with, to me, at 5 and 6 years old, adults. And I just learned to enjoy it and communicate it. It was a way that I got positive attention. And I think it just helped me develop my brain. And plus it's just fun, I guess. So I can tell you a couple jokes if you'd like to hear it. And okay, hooray, finally. So, really, the basic of stand-up comedy is just getting up and telling some jokes, just as yourself. Now, I'm wearing something silly today. Actually, when I was in college, so when I was in my 20s, I was a clown. So clowns use a lot of sight gags and different costuming and stuff. So I have a few things left over from that, and I'm wearing it for you today. I am actually wearing a 48 Blocks t-shirt backwards because I wanted you to see this really cool graphic. And that's just the kind of silly stuff you can do when you're a comedian. No one is expecting you to be proper with a suit and tie on like you see someone on the nightly news or something. You know, you can get away with stuff. And I think it looks a lot better than if I had worn my shirt the right side up and you would have just saw the little graphic, or I would have had to just do the whole show backward. So I decided to go with this. So basically what your wet pun of choice is when you're doing comedy is the microphone. And I want to just, Jean, take that mic out, or just, you know, I'll put my hand over it, but I want you to hear really when your voice is amplified. I want you to see how it is when we use it. So I got it here. So, oh, I already had that set up. So check, 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 check. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me. You can already see how I'm commanding the room. It's just my living room, but I have kind of attention. My voice sounds more just amplified, more authoritative, I suppose. So you really just want to have the mic, set this down, and you want to use the mic as, you know, I can use the mic stand. I can use it as a prop if I wanted to tell a joke about an antenna. You know, I can use that. I can use it to kind of, you know, rest my hand, or I can take the mic out of this and you know, put my hand here. It's just kind of nice to have something up here so that I'm not up here alone, but in essence, you are up here alone. So when you get up to do comedy, you want to know who you're doing comedy for. So maybe if you're hanging out with the boys on the playground, you maybe come up with a football joke that they think would be funny. So yeah, here's all these guys playing football. I think they'd like this football joke. If you see a bunch of guys that are, you know, cooking, making s'mores by the fire, maybe you have a Boy Scout joke, something like that. That's what we call just reading the room and knowing who you're talking to. And so, you know, you're going to tell different jokes for your friends that are in the 3rd grade than different from the 8th grade, something like that. But everybody knows the library. I have a joke about the library. And here's where I'm going to teach you the first element of comedy. It's surprise. Surprise. That's all it is. Something that makes you laugh is just something that surprises you. You know, even on Scooby-Doo, you know, when Scooby-Doo maybe falls into a well or something, it's kind of, oh no, Scooby-Doo. And then, you know, it kind of jars you. And that's what makes you laugh. Like our body reacts with that laughter with it. So a guy walks into the library, okay? And he walks up to the librarian's desk and he says, yeah, I'd like a strawberry shake, some onion rings, and a hot dog. And the librarian says, sir, you do know you're at a library, right? And the guy looks around and goes, oh, sorry. I'll have a strawberry shake, an order onion rings, and a hot dog. So I think you see what I did there. See what I did there? So of course, the librarian responds. I just want to break this down for you real quick. The librarian is responding to a guy who's screaming in the library a food order, but the surprise ending that makes it funny. We even got a laugh out of the cameraman. What really made the surprise and made the cameraman even laugh is that he was responding to being in the library and thinking that he shouldn't say it that loud. Okay, so that's kind of an example of a joke. And if you want to string all those together, then you'll have a set. So maybe I get a 5-minute set at your school assembly someday. So I'll tell that joke, and maybe I'll tell a camping joke. You know, a little boy's out shopping with his mom, and his mom's really stressed out. Okay, you've been there, like with your parents, right? And you're, you know, going up and down. It's boring. She's looking at stuff. She's filling the car. She's not really paying attention to you. It's a stressful day. Well, all of a sudden, this particular little boy had to use the restroom. So he yells to his mom, "Mom, I have to go pee." And it kind of embarrassed the mom in the store, okay? So she said, "Listen, next time, Timmy, you have to go to the restroom. Why don't you say to me, 'Mom, I want to sing a song.' That'll be our little code, okay, for when you need me to take you to the restroom and we're out in public. You'll just say, 'We need to sing a little song.'" So Timmy says, okay, and the next time they went shopping and he needed to use the restroom, instead of saying, "Mom, I gotta go pee," he said, "Mom, I want to sing a song." And if he really had to go, he'd go, "Mom, I gotta sing a song right now." But at any rate, it was a great system for them. Unfortunately, the mother forgot to tell Timmy's father about this. And one night, over a weekend, Timmy's father took him camping. And Timmy woke up in the middle of the night, and he felt the urge, and he needed to use the restroom. So he told his father, he whispered in his ear, "Dad, I want to sing a song." And you know, it was pretty urgent. So, "Dad, I want to sing a song right now." And so the father just kind of wakes up a little groggy and says, "Timmy, you can't sing a song right now. You know, you're going to wake up the people in the next tent. You're not going to be able to do that." And Timmy says, "You don't understand. I want to sing a song right now." And so the father says, "All right, if you have to sing a song, just lean in and sing very quietly in my ear."
Oh,
Wow. So you can see how fun that is. And that's something that you're sort of picturing in your mind, that punchline of the joke. It takes you a minute to get it, and you kind of get it. And that's sort of a story form kind of a joke that you can write. So like I said, really what you are when you're a comedian is you're a writer. And you're just going to sit down and think of these situations that happen to you in your own life that you think is funny. Maybe something makes you think of it listening to a conversation at the table next to you in the lunchroom. Maybe you think of something on television that makes you think something's funny. Or maybe it's just trying to explain an idea like this joke. And when people ask me what my favorite joke is, this is my favorite joke, actually. And it's about perspective. So I could see maybe a minister using this kind of humor to get people to understand perspective. Perspective is the way that you look at things, and maybe people look at things another way, and maybe you look at situations this way or that way. That's the word, what perspective means. So I could see a minister maybe using this, or a school teacher, or just you on the playground trying to have fun, practicing your comedy skills. But anyway, a turtle robs a bank, and the only witness to this bank robbery is a snail. So the police in the town round up all the turtles in town, and they bring them in for a lineup. You know, a lineup is when someone does a crime, they see if the witness can identify them. So all the turtles in town are in the police station for a lineup, and they say to the snail, "Okay, snail, which one of these turtles robbed the bank?" And the snail looks at all the turtles, and they're all different. Some have green shells, some have brown shells. Snail's looking and looking, The police say, okay, Snail, which one of these turtles robbed the bank? And finally, the snail looks up at the police officer and says, I don't know. It all happened so fast. Yeah, it all happened so fast. You guys have been great. And this is how you end your, this is a great way to show you're professional. That's how you end. You guys have been great. What a great audience. Good night. And you walk off. But that's a little bit of just straight comedy where you're up there, you're telling stories, you're telling puns. Another way, if you have maybe a project at school or something to incorporate comedy, is just really with a silly outfit. I mean, I have my piano suspenders that are a couple decades old now. You can wear a silly hat. I waited till the middle of the day. I don't want to mess up my hair. But a silly hat already makes people, I mean, do you think that I'm going to teach you your math homework dressed like this? No. So I'm already putting you like in a comedy mindset. So maybe even your mom or dad or grandmother, grandfather have some old hats lying around that you're getting rid of. If you're interested in comedy, grab them up because you're never going to know when you need them. You can even make the props part of your joke. I'm going to walk out of the shot real quick. Oh, and let me put my microphone back on. But now you can hear, you got to hear like a little bit of a difference when your voice comes through an amplifier. And right now I'm just using a little clip-on mic that's attached to my camera setup. But you can even use the, as part of the joke, like little props. Like if you start and go, okay guys, we're gonna have a ball doing this comedy workshop with Tomkomedy. And you know why it's so funny when Michelle gets on stage and talks to us? Because although her jokes are cheesy, they're also very good.
Nice.
They're good. So anything that you have laying around can kind of help with your comedy. Maybe you're telling a story about a performer. Wouldn't it be fun to have this? Maybe you're telling a story about a bird and you have a little boa on. Just little things that you keep all your little, you know, toy boxes. Start thinking about how you could even incorporate them in your comedy routine. They can, there's even, people that are professional comedians and all they do are things like this. They are called prop comics. This is a prop. This is something that I'm using to prop up my act because maybe I'm not being that funny, but boy, look at the feathers. So it's very important that you, when you're doing comedy, here's something interesting that you should know.
Got a shout out for the leg lab. People are loving the leg lab.
Oh, we got a shout out for the leg. Yes, one of a great movie. I should tell you that I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. And that, of course, is the lamp from a very famous movie from a very long time ago that it has to be 40 years old by now called A Christmas Story. But they play it every Christmas, so you'll see it. And they actually filmed that in Cleveland, Ohio, where I am from. So as I was saying, you want to not really, they call it joke stealing. I don't want to use that word. I mean, right now you're going to look on the internet for ideas. You're going to hear jokes. You're going to want to repeat them. But as you get into being a professional comedian, what I'm not allowed to do is to go on the internet, memorize another comedian's act, and just get up on stage and say that. I'm not allowed to do it. And musicians can get up and play other people's songs, no problem. But I can't get up and use someone else's material because it's theirs. You wouldn't want the kid in front of you to take your essay that you worked a whole week writing and go up and read it in front of the class like it was his and get the good grade. So you need to march to your beat of your own timpani. Timpani is a kind of drum. There's a phrase, march to the beat of a different drummer. But of course, I wanted to make a pun. So instead of saying drum, I use timpani. I'm giving you everything I got, people. I'm giving you everything I got. I'm throwing it all out there.
Now it's gonna rain. Now.
Oh, maybe I'm that powerful, and that's actually why we're inside. But I think it worked out because we got to use a lot of other funny things. I got to show you, you know, how the amp works and whatnot. Actually, right before I stopped doing that, show them the amp, Miss Jeannie. So this is my little setup when I go to do gigs on the road. I go to schools, nursing homes, that kind of thing, and I can adjust all of this in the back here. For like the sound of a bass, the sound of treble, I can control the volume, I can plug my guitar into it, and then it just runs all the way over to my fancy gold microphone. So I don't have it on right now. We're using the mics for the camera, like I said, but that's kind of the little way to go. So really, why comedy? Why are you listening to this? Who, what, when, where, why? As I said, it's a great way to communicate. It's a great way to make friends. It's a great way to take people's nerves away if you're nervous about something. It's a great way to get people's attention if you're making a speech. You have school projects. A lot of times you're up in front of the class, starting with a joke. Maybe it gets what did she say? Oh, that's funny. Let me see what else she has to say about this topic. Even if you're doing a serious topic about history or something like that. So it's just a great sort of mindset to get into. It's fun. It's like a puzzle to come up with a joke. So just sitting with your notepad and doing that is just a great way to develop your mind, improve your writing skills. And everybody has to do some kind of writing to get yourself through school or when you get older and do a job. So it's just really a great way to sharpen your mind. Where to do it? Maybe it's not always appropriate, you know, not a good time to make fun of your brother or sister if they're sick. So always know who you're talking to and read your room. And why we do it, it just makes people happy. Your body feels good when it laughs, you know, just physiologically. If you just laugh for no reason and you smile, you're releasing like chemicals in your body that make you feel good. So just get out there and make people laugh. At the rest of this weekend if you can. And if you want to learn more about all of these techniques I taught you, the internet and YouTube has hundreds of videos that you can check out about it. And if you have any questions for me, you message me right at Tomkomedy, TOMKOMEDY, and I will get right back to you. So please keep it here all day. Take a break from the Netflix. I'm even going to turn Scooby-Doo off. Watch 48 Blocks the rest of the day. So this is Michelle Tomko from Michelle Tomko and Gene Burby, my awesome cameraman and studio audience. Thank you, Stockton University and Atlantic City Arts Foundation for the opportunity. Have a great artful weekend.